fellow travelers. Welcome to the Respawn Station podcast. I'm your host, Nick Sivak, and I'm joined by Kandula.
Hello, everybody.
We're doing double duty this week. We just recorded our Gamescom podcast, so definitely give that a listen if you have not already. Sri was at Gamescom this year. We had hands-on impressions. We had butts in the seats in the audience for all the biggest drops, so definitely give a listen to that. It was a lot of fun. But, you know, we're going to be a little bit fast and loose with the timing this coming week, so we decided, hey, let's just double up and get a second episode ready to go, so that way we don't miss out on our consistency, which is the number one thing. So, last week, it was just Gamescom, the entire block. This time, we're going to ask ourselves that ever-important question, which is what we've been playing. And we also, later on, after, the news headlines and all that, we're going to be deciding the game of the year for 2025.
That's right.
But
That's
with a bit of a twist. So,
Jeff Keighley never tells the source. We're the source.
We're going to tap into exactly how they decided. So,
yeah.
But back to what I mentioned, that ever important question, Sri, have you been playing anything? You've been busy. You've been traveling the world. Did you have time for any games?
Yes. Well, so here's the thing. I have not been playing a lot since in the last 2 weeks, probably.
Mm-hmm.
But since we've last talked, because we've been off air for about a month, there has been games that I've played. So first of all, Black Ops 6. I've not played Black Ops 7. Black Ops 6. I've played all of it, and I'll say briefly, my thoughts are better than I was expecting. It was like 9 hours total, which is like the longest Call of Duty game that I think I've played, and that's just coming off. That's right off of Black Ops 1 and 2 replay that I did, and a lot of surprises in it, and just in terms of like what they were playing around with, like. It was a surprise of like going from mission to mission and being like, oh shit, and then this is what we're doing now, and they'll set up like a whole bunch of stuff that literally just serves this one mission, and then you move on from it.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly, I had a lot of fun with it. If you're a fan of Call of Duty campaigns or even just like first-person shooter campaigns, I think like Black Ops 6's campaign is one of the best recent first-person shooter campaigns. Like it's like I would be hard-pressed to find again a first-person shooter with a campaign that is better in the last like 3-4 years than Black Ops 6, just because like the production values hit, the sound design hits, the story is actually interesting. It doesn't get too trippy or anything, but it does like have the weirdness that like Call of Duty does, to the point where it's like some missions are genuinely fucking awesome. So I highly recommend checking out Black Ops 6 if you haven't, especially if you're like kind of trying to like get ready for Black Ops 7. I don't know how intertwined it'll be, but worth checking out.
I gotta ask real quick, no spoilers, but I know that there is a casino heist in the game. Does that mission slap? Yes or no?
Dude, it is so sick too. Like what they do with that mission, I thought was just like super cool. And they definitely like, yeah, watch this. And like, they're like really, yeah, they play with it really cool.
Nice. That's like the one thing that I'm so excited to experience when I actually get around to that game.
Dude, honestly, like, and there's parts, like there's certain missions where I was like, oh shit, they're doing this. And then like, you've played more Call of Duty games than me, but it's genuinely like, oh, no other Call of Duty game has done this. And it maybe like not everyone will be like, oh yeah, this is for the better. But like just the fact that they were like, we could play it safe and phone it in like the game that came before it, but like they didn't, and they really kind of tried to see what they could do, and I respect that. And then so obviously I've been playing. I got the Switch 2 and I've been playing a lot on that. I already talked a lot about World End Syndrome, and you can read my review on Respawn Station now. I'm on like playthrough 4 of that game. It's not as crazy because like the more you play, like each consecutive playthrough gets faster because you've experienced so much of it that like you can like it skips through the stuff you've already seen. So I'm on playthrough 4 now, and I think 5 is the last one. And so it is I hate replaying games for some reason. Like it's just always been a thing. Like I like the one playthrough really is like, oh, that's my story. That's how I experienced it. That's how I like to experience games. But it is interesting because like every time I go back, there's something in each playthrough where I'm like, oh, that's context. That's important. That makes the whole thing a little bit more interesting. So I'm still playing that, and I'm hoping to get that done, wrapped up fast. But that's like when I have free time. After the second playthrough, I've really been like just chipping away at it every now and then. The big game on the Switch 2 that I've been playing because my wife wants to play it is Kirby and the Forgotten Land. I just picked that up like 2 weeks ago, right before I went, left to Germany, and that's been like the big co-op game. Like we put it up on the TV. You just use one Joy-Con each to play. She plays Kirby. I play the fucking Waddle Dee with a bandana, like the fucking canonical character, the main character, really. And it's a lot of fun, man. I've never played a Kirby game before, but damn, it's like a good freaking time. It's not like it is weird. Like objectively, Kirby is fucking weird. Like there's a part of the game where Kirby just sucks up a fucking car, but the car is so big that it can't get its mouth around it. So you just see the bottom of the car still, and it's like, oh, how's that allowed? That's not like the car is clearly rusty and shit too. But anyway, I digress.
Kirby's
fun
just
game,
like,
and it's like, yeah, fun game. And the one thing I do like appreciate, like I like, it really makes me feel like I'm a pro gamer because I'll be playing with Alexa and she's like running through, like attacking anything that moves, and I'm like, well, hold on, can we get over here? And then like we'll do something, and then like it unlocks like the secret Waddle Dees that you can collect throughout the game. And like we're trying, like we're not 100% in the game, but like every mission we play, we try to get as many things done as possible. So yeah, it's been a really fun co-op experience to play that game. And so it's my first Kirby game, and I'm having a great time with it. And then there's two games that I've also been playing. These are all on stream, so nothing too crazy. The first is I've gotten back into Death Stranding 2. It still fucking slaps. Still just as fucking weird. Went into I just hopped into it like a few days ago for the first time in like 3 weeks or 4 weeks or something like that. And I was like, oh man, I hope I don't like feel like I'm totally out of it. But I was luckily I kind of slipped right back into it. And like there's a sequence where one of the puppets, like, or not one of the puppet that is kind of the doll man who's with you is like, hey man, is that this song that you have on this on your like collection? I love that song. And so spoiler alert, right? So I was like, oh, let me see. So I go and play the song. I go to because there's a music player option, like feature in the game. I open up my music player, play that song that he was asking for, and he's like, oh, that's awesome. Do you have some time? And you can either say like, no, I'm busy, or yeah, I have some time. And then it goes into a fucking musical break. He just starts doing a choreographed dance. And I was like, yeah, this feels right. This feels at home. And so, yeah, Death Stranding 2 is awesome. And then just 2 days ago, we started playing Pokemon Shining Pearl. I started playing Shining Pearl. Alexa and Austin and Brittany are playing Brilliant Diamond. For those of you who don't know, Shining Pearl or Diamond and Pearl specifically was my first Pokemon game, and so it's like always very fond in my heart. I'm always very fond of it, and I still have my cartridge with the original save file, just right behind the camera right there. And so going back to this was really interesting, of like experiencing it over again. Incredibly fucking good soundtrack, like. There's parts of this game you go into the area and like, what the hell? Who's going this hard on the fucking beats right now? And at the same time, I'm not a huge fan of the chibi art style. That just it doesn't. I don't know. I feel like it would have been better if they just stuck with what was originally there. But I played it for like about 3 hours and I got used to it, so it's not like harming me or anything. It's not taking me out, but it just it is what it is.
Yeah.
But that's it. That's what I've been playing. That's all I've. How about you, Nick? I saw you've been playing a few things. I see on the list here. That's probably a big spoiler alert, but
yeah, those are the two big ones. I'll start with the two small ones that I don't have on the list real quick because I don't have much to say on them. But I had a little bit of a retro itch again, and so
yeah, I was gonna say, you should get that checked out.
Yeah, I really should. It's funny because it's a retro itch, but weirdly, I've also gone down a very big rabbit hole recently, which was watching clips of the classic Top Gear, and I've also started watching the Grand Tour on Amazon.
Are you a fan of Top Gear?
I didn't think I was, but apparently I am now, because...
Do you have Prime?
I do, yeah.
All right, so there's a show that they have. So, like, obviously Top Gear got canceled.
Mm-hmm.
And now, as soon as I started speaking about it, I forget. It's like the Grand Tour, the Grand...
Yeah, Grand Tour. That's
show,
their other show that they did after Top Gear.
I love that show. The production on that show is fucking incredible.
Yeah, so like I just went down this YouTube rabbit hole of just because they have like a channel now that's called Top Gear Classic, and they upload like classic clips from the show. And I was like, man, this show is like hilarious, and like it's like I'm also like interested.
Even if you don't give a shit about cars.
Exactly. I was like interested in like the car conversations, but also just like the hijinks that they got into. And I was like, well, here, like I know the Grand Tour is a thing. Maybe I should give that a try. And I'm almost done with season 1 of that, so I've just been watching that. So it was like. I had a retro...
And they're long as hell.
Yeah.
Episodes.
I had a retro itch, and then I was also like... I got that racing bug, where I was like, okay, I want something with cars, so...
All right, so he's going back to Motorfest. That's it, isn't it? You're going to go back to Motorfest.
It is not, unfortunately. I went a little bit further back than the Crew Motorfest.
Okay.
I was between 2 games. One was Automodelista, which was like an uncommon kind of... PS2, Xbox, GameCube racing game developed by Capcom, and it has like a cel-shaded art style. That's why it like originally stood out to me. It was between that or Outrun 2, which is on the original Xbox.
Oh, okay.
I decided to go with Automodelista, and because it has a cel-shaded kind of cartoonish art style, I was like, it's got to be like an arcade racer, right? It is much more sim than I was expecting than arcade. There's like, I'm playing on PlayStation 2, and you have to, I have the car set to automatic, but you can do it in manual, and you physically have to shift gears with the R1 button. And if you spin out, which for me happened quite a bit because I'm not very good at the game, you also have to switch into reverse gear, then accelerate to reverse, switch back into drive, and then accelerate again to drive. So the cars feel really heavy. They spin out kind of easy, and a lot of it's about like tuning your different parts of your cars before you go into a specific race. So historically, I'm much more into arcade racers than sim racers, so I only put about an hour into it, and then I was like, you know what, I'm kind of good on this right now.
Yeah,
but it was cool for the hour that I played.
I've never heard of this game. It definitely I don't blame you. It looks more arcadey. Like I wouldn't look at it and say, oh, it's like a sim game. Mm-hmm. But I gotta say though, the cel shaded art style, it still holds up. Like there's it like I'm looking at it for the first time now. You could pass this as a modern day indie game or something, and it would still like it's looks great.
Yeah, it really didn't age at all, like the art style wise, and it looks. I'm playing on a CRT, so it looks obviously immaculate on there.
Yeah.
The one thing that's also a bit of a detractor, and it's a me thing, is that it is a early 2000s game, so all the cars are from like the early 2000s, and I really dislike the body shape of cars from that era and like the visual look of them. I just think that they look not good at all. And so like I was like, oh, because like one of my favorite cars is like the Dodge Challenger, right? And I was like, let me see if they have a Challenger. And I was like, oh, they do, but it's the bad Challenger that looks ugly.
Not the good one.
Yeah. I still have a bit of that racing bug, and I'm still watching the Grand Tour and everything, so I might switch to Outrun 2 and see if that fares a bit better, because I know that that's like a hyper arcade racing game, so I might enjoy that a little bit more. But played a little bit of that.
There's always NFS Unbound, man. I mean, I was just you got me thinking about racing games, and I looked at my backlog, and I think currently that might be the only one that I actively have on my list. Yeah, maybe I don't know. I expected more to have more racing games on here, but
it's kind of funny.
You haven't played Outbound. Or Unbound. Is it Unbound or Outbound?
Unbound. I did play that one. Yeah.
Oh, you did? Okay.
The funny thing, we'll get into it in a little bit because we have a news headline on it, but I was like, honestly, what I would love to play is the Forza Horizon right now, but I didn't have any that were accessible to me. So, yeah, that's for in the future at this point. But the other kind of retro game that I played was Luminous. So when we did our reactions to the Sony State of Play around summer, Luminous Arise was announced there, obviously from the Tetris Effect team. And I was like, I've never played Luminous. And a couple weeks back, I got a PS2 version of Luminous. I think it's like the first game and maybe like some extra levels or something like that. But I was like, let me just throw this on, something that I can just like zone out to, essentially, just rotate some blocks and everything. And it's fun. It also, it's a very simple visual style, so like it doesn't look old, even though you're playing it on PS2
right.
and on like a CRT and everything. The music is pretty catchy in it. It does kind of like a Tetris style thing where it's like you score enough and then the background changes and like the song changes and everything. So I've been playing a little bit of that. It hasn't quite grabbed me as much as Tetris, and I've kind of had to like change my brain around to adapt to how it works, because essentially how Luminous works is you get these different squares that have different color like organizations, right? So it'll be like, say if your two colors you're working with are red and blue, like our colors here, it's like you might have like 2 red dots and 2 blue dots, and you'll put this down, and then the next one might be like a red dot and a blue dot and a blue dot and a red dot. And so like you kind of have to form squares in your playfield, and then there's this time bar that goes across the screen, and whenever it wipes across the screen, any squares you have created will be like, subtracted, and you get points for those. So you kind of want to build up a bunch of them that connect together, so you get like a huge thing to wipe out. And sort of like a match 3 game, like they'll like drop and make more squares if they fall into the proper place. So it's like one part puzzle game, one part rhythm game. It's very unique, but it's not as like, I guess, dexterous as like Tetris. You're not like really switching pieces around and like moving stuff around constantly.
Sure, right.
You're really just kind of like thinking about where I need to put this in order to maximize the points that I'm getting. So it's been fun, but also not like, I only put like an hour into it, so I don't have like a ton to say about it or anything. It's also pretty bare bones on the PS2. It's like you have the main mode that like you unlock more levels the higher score you get, and then there's just like play one level in that specific style. So not a whole lot there. I think there's multiplayer also, but obviously it being on a PS2, it's like split screen. So haven't really tried that out. One of the big games that I finally finished, which is funny.
I was gonna ask,
we've been off the air for long enough that I have actually finished this, which is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. It's very interesting for me because I'll describe it exactly how I described it to a friend of mine. I think it's a very good game, possibly a great game, but I do have some issues with it, and they're not like big issues, admittedly. It's just like a couple of tiny things, but it's not like a flawless experience, essentially. The thing that I keep latching onto with it is that I think the beginning of the game is like incredible. I think the prologue and Act 1 are like 10 out of 10. Like I have very few criticisms with the beginning. As the game goes on, I think the second half isn't as interesting or like as gripping as the first half. It's still like interesting, and the story goes places, and like you'll be shocked like at revelations that are made throughout the game. But I think like the emotional impact and just like kind of the build up for the story, I found a lot more interesting than where it ultimately ends up landing. So it's a good story throughout. And like, again, like while I have this criticism, I'm not trying to say that it's bad or anything and that I didn't like it. That's not the case. I did like it all the way through. It's just, I think the beginning I was more enraptured with than the ending. On a similar note, the gameplay is very fun. Obviously, I forget how in depth I've gone when I've talked about it before, but essentially you have like parries and dodges, but it's turn-based, so it's kind of like an active turn-based combat system. And a lot of what you do in the game is being confronted with an enemy that has a different move set and trying to learn those patterns to know when you have to parry, when you should dodge, that sort of thing. They throw in different mechanics throughout the game, so you're constantly like getting new things that you have to do. So like, you know, for instance, R1 is the parry and circle is the dodge. So you have those pretty much at the very beginning of the game. Eventually they throw in these things called gradient counters, which are special attacks that come at you. Then you have to hit R2 to counter that. Or then you have to, you know, you unlock a different thing that you have to do with L1, something like that. So they constantly throw in new mechanics throughout the game. So it gets interesting throughout. But the moves don't change, and that's by design. So like if it says like, you know, this is going to sound very generic because I don't remember the enemy names, right? But it'll be like monster swings violently is what it'll say on the turn like menu essentially. And when it says that, let's say the monster will go like attack, pause, attack, pause, attack. It will always be that exact format. So
Pattern.
that way you can learn that pattern and you know exactly how to like parry it or dodge it, however you want to handle that attack. As you get into the later hours of the game took me about like 50 hours to finish fully.
Damn. Okay.
Maybe a little bit less. I went back to do some, like I hit credits and then I went back for another couple hours to do like some end game stuff that I missed. So
Did you
I don't
platinum it or just
no
just experience more. Okay.
just to experience some more. So like I would say like for like 35 to 40 hours, like I was all like, you know, enraptured with it and interested in it. But in that last little chunk of time, it does get a bit repetitive. Like once you know what's happening, like you get into combat encounters and it's just like, okay, I know, counter, attack, you know, do this move, I won. So
How much of that do you think is like your own undoing of like is there a playthrough where you could have finished it in 30 hours and you might have not felt that, not necessarily fatigue, but like were you like taking the time to like pad out that time? Like
yeah, I was definitely going through like every area as thoroughly as I could to try to explore little pockets and stuff. Because one thing that I've heard is like a criticism of the game, and like I kind of see it. It didn't affect me so much, but the game doesn't really signpost where you have to go in the levels super well. Like there's no map in each of the levels that you follow. There's no like objective markers really. And so sometimes people will like progress down a path and realize that was the main path and they're in a cutscene and it like pushed them further and they didn't explore like the side paths. So like if you're not going through and thoroughly exploring everything and doing like every single side thing possible, then yeah, you could definitely finish it in a much shorter amount of time. There are certain points in the game where you do kind of, I don't want to say get roadblocked, but like you do need to have like at least a little bit of a foundation and like a character build going to be able to get past some of the fights. And occasionally you'll come across like a fight that's like, yeah, you shouldn't be doing this right now. You should be coming back later to do this fight. So it depends on how much of that content you want to engage with. But yeah, for me personally, going through and doing a lot of that side stuff, it did start to get a little bit repetitive by the end of it. And sort of the same thing with the exploration. So like you're constantly getting new things in these levels. Like maybe it's a color of lumina, which allows you to increase the amount of like abilities a character can have equipped. Or it might be like a record that you can play at the camp for like a music record, or it might be like a cosmetic item. And there's a lot of each of those things, but you just kind of hit the point, or at least I did, where it's like, okay, I'm on this little side path. I see a little purple icon over for like a bit of loot that I can pick up. I know that's probably a color of Lumina. Go over, pick it up. It's a color of Lumina. So like,
sure.
By the end of it, it's like, while those things are helpful and like while it's nice to go get them, it's just like it did. By the end, it was just like, okay, I kind of I guess what I'm saying is it felt a little formulaic at the end, where it's like I was just kind of going through the motions with a lot of this stuff to get to a point where there might be like a cutscene and a story moment that I found interesting. But then gameplay wise, it's like, okay. And they also like will reuse boss fights, specifically in like the last bit of the game where it's like end game stuff that you're doing. They will reuse a lot of boss fights, maybe throw in like an extra move or two here. So like they try to change it up, but by the time you've experienced all the new stuff, whenever they start reusing it is when the motions really start to kind of set in for it.
Sure, right.
Outside of that, though, I mean, there's like a couple little like technical hiccups here and there and little things like that. But by and large, I had a really fun time with it. I think the story, like I said, maybe not as interesting in the later half, but still interesting at a base level. All the way throughout. It definitely keeps you guessing on a lot of those narrative hooks. The emotions are definitely high. It gets into like some very interesting subject matter throughout the game. And the gameplay, while it might get a little bit repetitive by the end, it is still really fun and really unique compared to other games that I've played even recently. The art direction is incredible throughout the entire game. I think maybe it's a little over designed in some areas. Like it's just like I'm looking at a place and there's like the sky is tearing apart. There's floating rocks. There's trees that are growing up this way. There's a energy field going through here. So like maybe it's a little over designed in spots, but it usually when you're looking at something, it's like, wow, that looks incredible. What am I looking at? And then obviously, as we spoke briefly on in the Gamescom episode, the soundtrack is like easily, I would say, the front runner for soundtrack of the year right now. It's extremely varied throughout multiple different genres. They blend genres in very interesting ways. There's so many boss themes that just sound like super epic, and then you get like this very like jovial exploration tune when you're in like a new area and like talking to NPCs. So I think it's definitely understandable why it's one of the highest rated games of the year. And I definitely had a fun time, going through it.
It's like one of your favorites of the year so far, or?
Yeah, I'd say that. I'd have to go back and look specifically at everything that I've played, but yeah, I definitely had a really good time with it, and I would definitely give it a recommend, even if you're not somebody that's into like turn-based games super much, because like, while I've played a couple, it's not a genre that I typically gravitate towards, and I had a blast with the combat and everything. I think I think I talked about this before, it's maybe a little bit dense as far as like its presentation of like status effects and like what character abilities you get, what this character is unique to them and everything. So it's a bit dense, but if you take the time just to like kind of let the game get you up to speed with that stuff, it becomes really, really fun. So,
okay, nice. I mean, I've heard great things, but it's one of those games that I've personally stayed away from just because I don't think it's the right one for me. Like we'll see if I end up like I think every few months, if you track the podcast, that I'll be like, fuck it, it's out of my genre, but I'll go for it. So it might be, I think it's on that list, but it's definitely not like an immediate play, like an upcoming playthrough.
It's a tough recommendation for you because it's like, I feel like you would love the story and like the presentation and everything, but the gameplay, I have a feeling you might rub a little bit against with that.
Yeah.
But the last game that I've been playing,
the big one.
I had to do it. We talked about it in the Gamescom one. You're on the fence about starting it, but I committed. I am going back for a replay of Fallout New Vegas before season 2.
Oh, it's like a full because I did see that you had obviously Nick and I follow each other on GG just like you can by checking us out. I don't know what my I think my name is just SDSK on there. Nick, do you know? You're just Nick Sivak? Is
I
that
think
it?
mine's Nak Savik. That's usually my
Ah,
username on
Nick
a lot
Sivak.
of those. Yeah.
What is there an origin for that?
I
It's
needed a
just not
username, and I
available,
was
so you.
like, it sounds funnier like that. So
I did see that you were playing it, but I didn't know if you were just like, let me just re-experience some of the map or something.
we are going in the deep end, Sri. I am 26 hours into this
Oh
playthrough
shit.
of Fallout New
Oh
Vegas.
damn. Okay. Okay.
It is my main game now that Expedition 33 is done, and I
Okay.
have not, obviously a huge Fallout fan. I've played New Vegas several times already. The last time I did a full playthrough, though, was when we were freshmen in college. So it's been a
Wow.
while since I've done like
Yeah.
a full playthrough of this game. And because of that season 2 trailer, I was like, okay, I got to get my lore refresher on. I need to know these locations. I need to know if they have a random character's name on a board in the background. I got to be like, okay, yep, I remember doing
Got to
that.
be like that Nick or no, not Nick. Fuck. Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
Yeah,
Like,
the pointing meme. Exactly. That is what I need to be mindset in when season 2 comes out. So, New Vegas, man, it is one of those games. It is, it's one of those games you hear people talk about it where it's like Fallout New Vegas. Yeah, that's like an incredible game, and it's like it is one of those games that's of a time and just kind of like nails so much about like the vibe, the music, the art direction is like incredible. Even though like you look at it and maybe it's not as visually impressive as games are now. It's came out in like 2010, so it's it showed some age. Like there's repeated textures. There's the mountains look very similar, like all the way around. But like just like the way that like you'll be walking and the music, like I've been switching between the radio and then the ambient music a lot. And like the ambient music, it really kind of like plays into that like kind of tense, like almost scary kind of apocalyptic soundscape. So you'll just get these like very like ominous tones, but then you turn in the middle of the night and you see the glow of the Vegas Strip on the horizon. And they just got a lot right with this game. The one thing I will say, the game has crashed on me a lot on PC here. It's like almost every play session I get one or two of them. So some things don't change. That's just, that's Fallout on PC.
it's part of the charm, It's
Exactly.
part of the Fallout charm.
But I've been having a blast. It's also been a lot of fun because I'm like re-experiencing things where it's just like, oh, I remember this. Isn't there like a unique gun over around this corner? And it's like, oh, yep, there it is. And so it's like, it's been fun to like barely remember some of this stuff, but also be like experiencing it again and like more so paying attention to like the writing and the actual narrative going on. Because when I was younger, obviously, like, I would want to get in and be like, I want to explore. I want to, shoot a Deathclaw with a machine gun or whatever. And like, you follow the story, but maybe don't internalize it as much. And this time I've really been getting into like the characters and like the struggle of like the environment. It's like the NCR, they're kind of like, the government faction or whatever. They're like, supposed to be like the power, but it's like every time you come across the NCR, they're like, yeah, we're like completely screwed. Like if they like come over here tomorrow, like it's over. And like, it really gives like a weight when you like help out a certain faction and be like, yeah, like I'll do this thing for you because like you'll all die if I don't. So, yeah, I don't want to take too long on New Vegas, but I've been really enjoying it, really trying to sink my teeth into the story stuff because I'm just so curious to see how they're going to tackle it in the TV show.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I've mentioned before on the show, but New Vegas is one of those weird games where it's incredibly special to me as a game that I've never finished because it's what got me into console gaming. And as two things. So like, yeah, I think I've like 2 or 3 times like I've started New Vegas across like, like I think my PS3 and then my PC and then I think maybe Xbox. but I've like played maybe 5 hours at most, and then I'm like, I need to be in the headspace for this, and
Hmm.
I guess I deemed I wasn't, but it's definitely a game that I want to give the time to because like again, Fallout 3 is is I mean is one of my favorite games of all time for a reason, and I think that New Vegas like it takes a lot of what Fallout 3 built, but it adds it to like I think the location really like they embellish it in such a way that makes it very just interesting and more political than I think that Fallout 3 ever kind of really dared to be.
Hmm.
Other than like in kind of like small bursts, I'll say. But it is I do agree that mainly, especially recently, having replayed Black Ops 1 and 2, I found myself like thinking about how like again, I really don't like replaying games, especially back to back or anything like that. Like it's never been a thing for me.
Hmm.
Even movies, like I don't really like. There's been like I can count on my hand in one hand how many like movies that I've rewatched immediately. Like I'll watch some movies like you know after a little bit or like in a different format or something like that, right? But like not like right away or anything.
Hmm.
But I think Black Ops 1 and 2 really reminded me of like I've grown so much since I first played those games. And I think when I first played those games, I really was like, whoa, fucking explosion.
Yeah.
Like I was like, and that was, and I obviously, like you were saying, I was getting the story. I wasn't like, I was like a dumb, there's nothing up here. I'm just
Hmm.
big boom, go, cool. But I feel like, like going back to Black Ops 2 or something, and I'm realizing like, no, these are people that get it. Like these guys, and I don't know. I don't necessarily just think it's like because I've been to film school, or it's. I think having experienced enough stories, and then I think as a point of growth, I think more critically about games and or just stories in general, like storytelling. I think more critically about kind of what's put on the page or how it's delivered and yeah, you kind of realize like no, like some of these games that we thought were cool for the fact that they were cool. No, these people are like masters of their craft. Like they're
Hmm.
putting their work together. They know exactly what they're doing. And even given the limitations of the hardware that they were working with, they were I mean swinging for the fences and hitting home runs in a way that you like just would not be able to fully appreciate as a kid,
Hmm. And it's also not to say that it's like, games now don't do that. Like they obviously
Right. Yeah.
still
Yeah.
do, but it's like I think it's a pretty common talking point now where it's like the budgets have gotten so big that like a lot of this like culmination of like factors that made a lot of these games special like don't happen anymore because so much stuff has to be like sanded down and like marketed for like the widest possible audience, and that means like a lot of mechanics that you see are shared between a lot of different games and stuff. So it's not just that, but like sometimes you just go back to a game and it's like, man, a lot of the pieces just kind of came together and made this piece of art. So I've been feeling that a
Yeah.
lot with New Vegas.
I think there's also a interesting discussion to be had about like because I think in terms like in the movie side of things, there's been a big conversation about how movies have lost their color. And I'm not talking about A24, all right? A24, they're fucking kids over there playing with paintbrushes. Like I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like like a typical kind of big budget movie, how they've lost their colors a lot of, primarily if you want to analyze it, it's because like they're going on studio sets and it's easier to shoot on neutral like with a green screen or blue screen background and it makes it easier for that way, but the result is a product that is a little bit more muted in colors. It's not as like poppy, is not like the colors aren't like striking as much, and overall, by the way, like just generalized. And I think like, it'd be an interesting conversation to have about like the video game side of that because I think video games have come to obviously they're not shooting on blue screen or green screen or whatever, but
Hmm.
the budgets have like you were saying the budgets have boomed to a point where like okay, what's the sacrifice of having that big of a budget? or like that long of a production time, and like what are you paying off, and like what's the generalized kind of like what like impact of that. It'd be an interesting thing to look into. But yeah, let's definitely New Vegas, man. One of these days I gotta fucking I think I'm actually, to be honest, I know I can't really say I'm in a slump because I'm fucking playing Death Stranding 2
Yeah.
and Pokemon Shining Pearl, both like 20 something hour games. But like all of those are like the on stream. And so like usually I like have the one game that's like, oh, just for me, like I'm playing solo just for my own enjoyment. And I don't have one of those, so I'm a slump in that way. I haven't played like for a month. I have not had a game like that. And so I'm trying to decide what that game will be. I feel like it's going to be a big like some sort of a backlog game that I really want to play, but we'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Well, when are they releasing New Vegas on Switch too? I mean, make it easy. Come on.
Yeah.
Actually, it's probably on Steam Deck, huh?
One could hope. I think you can play it on Steam Deck, so there's a way to do that. I'd buy it again if it was on Switch too.
No, yeah, 100%. I own it multiple times already, but I have no shame.
Mm-hmm. But yeah,
I think that's all that we had. So by the way, it is playable. It is not verified, but it is playable on the Steam Deck. Okay, interesting.
So yeah, you might run into some crashes like like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's all we've both been playing this week. So we can transition into some headlines. And you know what? Why don't we just start with this? We've been talking a lot about Call of Duty. Paramount partnering with Activision on a film adaptation of Call of Duty. Not the first time this has been tried.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? Before we get into to dissect it a little bit further, Nick, blind ask, just shoot from the hip. Black Ops or Modern Warfare?
Modern Warfare.
Interesting. So I had this discussion with Austin, and I also said Modern Warfare because while I think that Black Ops is the more interesting stories, I think Black Ops has the most interesting stories, Modern Warfare is just the more viable story to tell.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can still have a big budget and explosions and high octane action or whatever, but like it's a military shooter versus like a psychological thriller that the Black Ops games end up being.
It's really funny because I could totally see it happening where it's going to follow the exact trajectory of the games. You get people
2019.
Just in general across the entire series. You get them in with Modern Warfare. It's like a grounded, like realistic, kind of military stuff. But you have the characters of like Soap and Price, like the stuff to get the fans in. Then after you do like a movie or two of that, then you do the Black Ops spin. That's when you start introducing the more weird, like cerebral, like maybe get a little bit more interesting with the visuals and the cinematography and stuff like that. So I could totally see them like mirroring the games essentially, where you get like your grounded kind of ones, and then you get your weird Call of Duty ones.
See, I am willing to bet no amount of money, really, no real money, but like I'll say like I don't know what I'll bet. My sense of temporary pride that the movie will end the same way as the 2019 Modern Warfare game, where you have this story, the story's finished, and then it cuts to like an army base, and it's like Price going, I'm putting together a team, and it's like, what are you calling this team? Task Force. Was it 141? Mm-hmm. Was that what it is?
Yeah,
143. I can't remember which one it is now.
141. You got it.
Okay. And he goes Task Force 141, and then boom, directed by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, I'm curious if it would be like if they would just straight up adapt one of the games, or if they would do like a Fallout where it's like it's a new thing, but it has characters and it has like this has like the ship mission. But it's like it's not the same as the Call of Duty 4 ship mission. Like
I think it'll be the latter. I don't think it'll be canonical. I don't think there's a canon to Call of Duty at this point.
Mm-hmm.
At least at least Modern Warfare. I think Black Ops is resembling some, like, it still has some semblance of a story canon, but yeah, I think it'll just be like a wild, like, hey, here's 2 hour movie. It's a military movie, like, but it has the every, let's say, 30 minutes there's some gigantic set piece, probably green screen the shit out of it, but you know, some big explosion that's like, oh shit, that's pretty fucking sick, and then it goes back to some more.
That's the thing that I think
typical.
is going to be a huge uphill battle for the movie is the set pieces, because the one benefit of the game is that because everything is fabricated using computers and everything, you can put somebody in the middle of the most dangerous thing that a person has ever gone through, with a helicopter like crashing, exploding, and shooting bullets like at the camera and everything. Whereas for the film, like, they still have to kind of ground
unless it's Tom Cruise doing it,
exactly,
unless
like,
he's the lead.
They have to kind of ground it still, so like it'll be, I'm sure, bombastic and crazy, but like they really have to step up their game if they kind of want to match the like impact that the games have with those set pieces.
So I said it jokingly, but there's a thing about, we talked about a while ago about how Steven Spielberg plays Call of Duty games. And I feel like they will be very, very unique. I mean, look, Steven Spielberg has done Ready Player One. Like, he's not, and adaptations are nothing new to Steven Spielberg. All right, Jaws, Jurassic Park, all fucking adaptations. I think it would be I think if Steven Spielberg signed on to the Call of Duty movie, the budget would be like, oh, double that? Okay, cool. Maybe there's a chance that like it could be like true, and also like with the way that Steven Spielberg has this like way of shooting. He loves his oneers, obviously, but there's a certain like style and aesthetic. He's a master of the craft for a reason. I would be beyond excited to watch a Call of Duty movie directed by the Steven Spielberg. We'll see if it happens. Michael Bay feels like a more apt director at this point, but
it would be interesting if Spielberg did it, because it would almost be like a weird spiritual sequel to like Saving Private Ryan or something.
Oh, sure.
Like if Saving Private
like,
Ryan was like the World War II one, but it's like Steven Spielberg's doing like, modern conflict or something. Like it'd be kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's like it's war, but it's cool now. It's not traumatizing like before. Yeah, that would be very interesting. But no, I will say, again, I threw out Michael Bay as like a little joke answer, but he did do I think it's called 13 Hours, starring John Krasinski, which was a pretty like gritty, like grounded war movie, not like a crazy one.
Didn't Michael Bay do The Rock also?
Pearl Harbor?
No, like I think it's called The Rock. I think it was Michael Bay. If he did, that's like half the Modern Warfare missions are from that movie.
The movie's called The Rock?
Yeah.
Oh, he's done The Island.
Let me see here.
He's done. Oh, I searched The Rock and I get Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, you got to do The Rock movie.
Oh, it is Michael Bay. Holy shit, I haven't seen this movie.
Yeah, this if you know the Modern Warfare 2 mission in the Gulag where they have the riot shields and the smoke grenades and everything, that is essentially taken right out of this movie. So, that would be an interesting pick, too. If it was like the person that made the scene that inspired a mission in the game is now adapting the game.
Dead ass. Never heard of this movie before.
You should give it a watch.
Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage?
We watched it.
God.
It's not bad. I had a good time watching it.
Huh. All right. Yeah, I'll add it to my list. All right, there you go. Call of Duty movie happening, probably 2027 at the earliest. So
yeah,
there you go.
Should be exciting at least. Hollow Knight Silk Song, the meme. We've been off the air so long that it's already past us here.
But we outlived it. The break kind of like just blew over the entire kind of anticipation and reveal and everything of this thing.
But Silk Song, it is, as of the time of recording, launching tomorrow.
And by the time you're watching this, it's out, baby. Like it's been out for a week and a half, I think, by the time you're watching this.
And almost in a GTA 6 like fashion, has scared a lot of the competition away. Multiple games revealing that they are delaying or pushing back dates just to get out of the Silksong window, which has been
I think I got no
crazy.
less than 20 emails the day after they announced it saying, "Hey, yeah, we're delaying the game, and you know exactly why we're delaying our game." Yeah, no, it really is crazy how big this game is. I don't know if you saw this thing. I thought it was really, while we're talking about Silksong, because I think neither of us really have perhaps an attachment to this game otherwise. But I thought it was very interesting. I think it was Jason Schreier had an article about why this game took like 7 years to make. And actually, as a prelude to that, I saw another thing about how before Hollow Knight came out, there was a Reddit post by someone that was like, "Hey, my best friend just left. Like last year, my best friend quit his job to work on his indie game, and they just released a trailer for it. And I think it looks awesome." And it was for Hollow Knight, and the comments were all like, "Oh, fucking looks ass. Look what like it's like another side-scrolling game. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll forget about this in 5 days." Like. To where that game went and what it's left, like it is just insane. I mean, I think if there's ever a point of like, hey, don't listen, like we make jokes about how Reddit is invaluable, you just search whatever you want and then Reddit and you'll get your answers, like life's mysteries will be solved. But yeah, don't listen to that shit, man. Like if it's like Reddit is full of assholes. It's just occasionally they're not farting and you can, get advice from it. But like, yeah, like believe in what you're doing. But anyway, so the reason why Team Cherry took so long to make the game, and I thought it was fucking awesome. Did you see this? Did you see why it took 7 years to make?
I think I did, but I don't recall what it is specifically.
It's because they were having so much fun making the game. They were enjoying just the process of making the game that they didn't want to rush it and, just get it out for the sake of getting it out. That is absolutely fucking awesome. Like it's beautiful. Just the idea of like having something that, first of all, immense expectations for this game. It'd be incredible for it to live up to, just like on a base level. But then like enjoying the creative process so much that it's not like a chore, and you're not just like, all right, time to get this thing out. Like, which I feel like is the state of a lot of games right now, especially like the big scale games, is awesome. And then also knowing that they have these millions of fans, just so excited for this thing, them to be like, oh yeah, and also the game is $20 is fucking wild.
Yeah,
and then also saying, yeah, there's no pre-orders. You can't pre-order this thing. You buy it on day one and you play it. I mean, look, next episode we're going to talk about it, I'm sure. I'm so fucking curious about what the day one numbers of this thing will look like, because it's got to be fucking crazy. Like,
yeah,
I don't know, man. It's just, I feel like I'm witnessing a tsunami hit like on a distant shore, and I'm still like, whoa, what the fuck? That's a big ass wave. Like,
Isn't it like one of the highest wish listed games on Steam? I think. Like,
yeah.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. You know what? We've never really said it formally, but to all the, the Hollow Knight fans, I'm glad you can finally pop that cherry. So congratulations.
All right. Earlier today, there was a 007 First Light State of Play.
Shit. Yeah.
We are curious about this game, I'd say, over the time. You were definitely excited about it when it was initially revealed. Did you have a chance to watch the State of Play 3?
Hell yeah, I did, Nick. And you know what else I did, Nick? Boom. There's me with that fucking 007 car, baby.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I did watch it. It was, by the way, surprisingly in-depth. I mean, maybe too in-depth. Like, they took their time with the game. Like, the opening driving sequence, I was like, wow, they're really, like, following the speed limit for this car. Like, they're really following it through. But yeah, no, I'll let you talk about it first, since I feel like I have probably a little bit more of a rant to go on.
Yeah. I think overall, because generally for this state of play, I think it wasn't a great showing for the game. Overall, I think the game sounds interesting, and I can see through the kind of issues that the presentation might have with it. And like, it basically looks like a more action-packed version of Hitman, which I think a lot of people kind of expected. Specifically the stealth mission parts, like they look almost identical to Hitman. You're just not playing as a bald man, right?
What's wrong with that?
Nothing's wrong with it. It's just my character has hair now. But the gunplay looked a lot of fun to me. It's very flashy. It's very big. The explosions are like blasting stuff everywhere. That was just something that stood out to me. I really like the little flourishes of how he like kicks weapons up off the ground to like switch weapons and everything. So the combat looks really cool. There is driving in the game, which obviously there's not in Hitman to my knowledge. And the driving, like, it looks okay. Like, it looks serviceable, I'd probably say. There's a little bit of jank. It looks a little floaty in some of those spots where it's going off of jumps and everything. I give them a bit of the benefit of the doubt, though, because it is kind of like their first stab at implementing that into the game, right? I think the big takeaway, though, for me from this state of play was it looks early and it looks very rough in a lot of areas. Like, standing back and squinting, I think the game looks pretty great, but there's a lot of situations. Maybe it was the capture, maybe it was they're playing on an earlier build or something, but there was a lot of moments where the frame rate just really tanked in a noticeable way. Like I texted you earlier, but even people in the chat were being like 007 FPS and stuff. Like it was chugging. There was a lot of like texture popping that I noticed also with like stuff in the environment, like just kind of popping in while they're moving and stuff. So it is unfortunate. Like it really kind of puts a damper on it, I think, because it seems like it's going to be like a fun game and like kind of a fun celebration / reinterpretation of James Bond, because obviously it's like a much younger James Bond. It's going to have like a different feeling than a lot of like what the movies get into and everything. But yeah, just watching it, like there were parts when I was like, whoa, like Sony was okay with this being like the big showcase with their name attached to it. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the requirement was for them to have put this out right now. Like, I don't know if it was like a contract thing that they had like, hey, you have to give us this much content for this, and out like the reveal of the gameplay, whatever. And I think that releasing the releasing the collector's edition stuff for the game right after this particular showcase was like a weird move, because I feel like it's not going to sell out. Like, like maybe you would have, even if you did it after the initial reveal or whatever, which if you missed it, there's a $300 collector's edition version of the game that comes with obviously the game, and there's a few stuff, but the main thing is like the gold gun model, like on a display stand and stuff. So, I love James Bond, and I also liked Hitman, and I've been very curious about IO's new take on it, and that oh my god, is that a fucking spider? What the fuck? No, I think that's a gnat. I don't know what that is. I'm gonna let it thrive though. So it's I've completely lost my train of thought with that thing. So it's a new take on I'm just gonna say what I was gonna say. It's a new take on Bond, and it's Bond's first mission, and this is also the what they showed off was the first mission of the game. Very introductory, so it's par for course that you have to expect things to ease into it. But what I think was, I share a lot of the same thoughts that Nick kind of said. I think that the frame drops are unfortunate, but I can forgive that because at least for a certain degree, I feel like, oh yeah, I prefer, if I have the option, if I prefer the developer show me the gameplay where it's like a little bit more like raw and gritty than them just throwing a CGI trailer at me and being like, but it, the potential could be cool. I think that actually, I'll say this. Had the discussion with Austin about this, and these are my exact words. They got the Bond vibe down, but gameplay wasn't too exciting for me. It was like Hitman Stealth, but a bit faster. But the driving really didn't have a sense of speed, and the game drops, the frame drops didn't help either. The gunplay had some cool stuff though, and with including the throwing of the weapons, and also like the melee action of like when you're like grapple a guy and then use him to fall down onto the ground, like use him as cushion. I don't. That's definitely been done in cutscenes. I don't know if I've ever had a game where you could do that, like as a player, just
Yeah.
kind of on your own initiative. So yeah, I was a little bit mixed about it because they certainly, again, the Bond vibes of where like he's approaching certain things and the music, swells, and it's like, oh yeah, that they got that one right. Those are awesome to experience, and I'm sure again, this is the first mission you'll get more and more of those as we keep playing. But it felt very Hitman to a little bit like his mantling and stuff, like is similar to Hitman, is a little bit faster. So you're getting around. He's a little bit more spry, but I didn't feel that part was a huge difference, which again makes sense. Like that's kind of what people are expecting when they think about it. But yeah, the driving just really let me down. Of like it didn't. I feel like there were. Like at the start, I was like, okay, they're in character. He's playing that role, so like the car has to maintain a speed, and you're pretending to be a chauffeur. But like then they get into action car chase, and like they even specify the car chases are like one of the pivotal parts of the Bond franchise, and it just didn't have the speed or the momentum or like the weight to it. Like there's a part where the car jumps over like a thing, and it's like why did that happen? It just like the car went like that, and then it just keeps going.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because like there's also like a lot of weird little inconsistencies or like weird like logic breaks throughout, where I noticed it with that car jump, because it's the part where they're in the chase and it goes off the back of the truck, right? And
yeah,
it's like the car you're chasing is like way ahead, and there's the truck, but then there's just an open lane here, so it's like, why wouldn't most people just drive around it? Like it like obviously it's like it's a video game, you're gonna go off the jump or whatever, but like in character as like Bond, I don't know if that would be necessarily the thing. And then like later on, there's like this set piece where he's going onto this plane, and like.
And then he gets onto the fucking thing to get is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but it gets like blasted by the engines, and it like whips at him, and then he's just like, "Oh, I'm just driving this now." Like, and then like,
yeah, he's like, "Oh, like I guess I'm a car driver now," or whatever the fuck. Yeah,
he gets like up on the plane, and then a guy comes out of a cockpit, like 20 feet away, but like isn't shooting.
Very
at
Mission
him.
Impossible sequence, by the way. Like the whole A150 or whatever the thing is, like. Very Mission Impossible of him to like get on board the plane as it's taking off. But that's the thing though, like Bond has a certain level of unseriousness to it, and that's totally fine to lean into. But I think that there's parts of it that they did have that are like that, where it's like a little bit like unbelievable, and it's fine. Like there's a sequence where at the kind of end of the preview showcase before they get into the deep dive, where the plane's going down and he's like free falling, and like a fucking Hummer or whatever is like flying through, and he goes through it. Like the doors are open, so he flies through it, and that was like, oh, that's pretty fucking sick. That's Bond, sure, but like. You have those moments, but I feel like having all three of those in the first opening mission was like a little bit different, and I don't know if it's like you have to do those or like, oh, that's just like the way that things happened in this playthrough. Like, weird choices, but nevertheless, it's didn't get me quite as excited as I was hoping for. But I'm looking forward to seeing more. This did look a little bit earlier than I think I was expecting, so. Maybe next. I don't know if there's a release date, but next year,
I think it comes out in March. So I think it's like early.
Oh, it has
year.
A fucking release date. Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope in the next few months
because I think it's like right next to my birthday or something like that. It's like the 27th or the 26th, something like that.
Wow. It is. It doesn't say. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me look on Steam. Pre-purchase March 27th, 2026.
Okay, so yeah.
Oh shit.
But yeah, James Bond. Same to you. I'm still like cautiously looking forward to it, but I don't. This presentation didn't really do a whole lot for me.
Yeah.
Next up, probably a shorter one. I'm not sure how much we'll have to say on this, but this was just a random story that kind of popped up that I thought was interesting to touch on. Atari obtained the rights to a bunch of old Ubisoft IPs recently. These include Cold Fear, I Am Alive, Child of Eden, and then Grow Home and its sequel, Grow Up. So like not like megaton Ubisoft things, but like
I think Child of Eden might be the biggest one. I think of these.
It's one that I have. So like
yeah. I have Child of Eden. And I also have I Am Alive.
Which one's that one? I feel like I know the logo, but I don't know what that game is.
That's like the post-apocalyptic climbing. Like there's a big element of climbing in that game, and I don't like. It's a solid 6 out of 10 game.
Okay.
You know, but so I can't really like recommend that you go out of your way and play it. But
I know Cold Fear is like a survival horror game, so it's like they have like a bunch of different genres here that they're toying around with. I mean, we've talked about in the past kind of this weird like side company that Ubisoft has kind of spun some of their big IPs into. So I wonder if this was just like, we're not going to do anything with these. Sure, Atari, make an offer here. You can have them.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if that was the case or what really.
Make me an offer I can't refuse.
Yeah.
And then I guess it seems Cold Fear pretty well rated. It's on Steam. Very positive, mostly positive recent reviews.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's on like original Xbox and PS2 maybe. So it's an older game for sure, but yeah, kind of interesting. And then the last thing,
oh boy,
we don't usually talk about leaks all that often, but I do think that both you and I would be pretty excited about this if this is the case, and it seems like it's pretty much the case. It seems a Australian car importer might have accidentally leaked the existence of Forza Horizon 6. There is a now deleted Instagram post from this company. I forget who it is. I don't have it in front of me, but it was basically a post where they said like it was a shot of this guy scanning a car and said, hey, this is this person from @ForzaHorizon Dev or whatever. And it was like, they're scanning these cars for their upcoming game. And some fans have speculated that because of the car that they're scanning, I don't have, again, the exact brand name or anything in front of me, but apparently they are pretty uncommon cars that were only sold in Japan. And so that's kind of led people to believe that Horizon 6 might be set in Japan this time around. And I believe it was like Insider Gaming also apparently saw like documents that suggest that could be revealed at Tokyo Game Show this year. So,
fitting place, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm excited for a Forza Horizon game. But man, how is it? How's Playground Games pumping out this one? But like Fable's still not done. I mean, what's going on with Fable?
Yeah,
that game was announced a long time ago.
Fable is such an enigma, man. I hope we get an explanation for that someday, because
it takes so long to get the game out that like the Fable game is just the release of the announcement of the game. That you play through the.
I guess they could be setting themselves up for an Obsidian, and they have Fable and Forza Horizon 6 next year, and it's like a huge Playground Games year. But
you think Xbox is playing that as power moves like that? I mean, it is also, I guess Obsidian is also Xbox, so
yeah. I don't know, but I'll be excited if it's true. That's pretty much after Forza Horizon 5 was the first and only Forza game, period, that I've played, and I had a really good time with it. And I did review it. You're right. I always forget that I I did a review on that. But
I will ask you as we transition from the news to the main topic. You're going through New Vegas now. Is that gonna put you off of the Outer Worlds 2 in like a month? Is it this month?
October, I think. That is a good question. I didn't really think about that. I've been excited about Outer Worlds 2. I think I may have fallen a little victim because recently the previews had gone out. Some press got some early hands-on with it. And it seems like the consensus, at least in what they showed, was like, it's a bit safe. It's a bit predictable. Like, what they saw in the early parts of the game were cool, but it's like, the real magic is if that can be sustained throughout the entire run of the game.
20 hours or whatever.
Yeah, so I might be holding off on Outer Worlds 2 until more impressions or like reviews come out on it. At the same time, I've always, because there's a lot of stuff that I want to play on Game Pass, like I might get it on Game Pass and play it down the road a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Typically, you're right, though. I don't usually stack like games like that on top of each other. So I think more so where my brain was like, I'm going to get through New Vegas probably sometime in October, and then I'll have 2 months until the TV show comes out. So that was like that mental break I need. But yeah, I don't know.
Fair.
I'm also a sucker for those games, so I could easily be talking to you in a month and a half from now and be like, I'm playing Outer Worlds 2.
All right, so as we go into the main topic of the show, as Nick is prepping it, there's things are about to get dicey. I will quickly run off a few things from the inbox that you should keep in mind. First of all, the re-release of Yooka-Laylee called Yooka Replay is officially coming out October 9th, 2025. It's coming out for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series XS, and PC, and now it's just been confirmed with Switch 2. And they also said that there are no game key cards around these parts. So the full game will be on the Switch 2 cartridge. Nice. And I know that's a big thing for collectors. There's also Formula Legends. If you're watched F1 and you're really into it, that one is out now on PS5, Xbox Series XS, Switch 1, playable on Switch 2, and PC as well. There's also Call of the Sea, a game that we've previously covered on the website, is available on but by the time you're watching this, it will be available on Nintendo Switch as well. It's previously also available on PlayStation and Xbox. Hirogami, from Bandai Namco and Kakashi Games. This is available on PS5 and PC via Steam, and it's one of the games that proudly said that they were not going to back out because of Hollow Knight Silksong, and it's coming out the same day, I think, or no, it's out. Yeah, it's out now. So around the same time as Silksong, but you can check that out. It's a origami action is it platformer? Is that action platforming adventure? Yeah. So check that out. Last two things from Rami Esmail and Mystic Forge comes Australia Did It, a genre-bending action strategy game coming this year to PC. So check that out. Again, it's called Australia Did It. And it's called the genre that they're defining is a tactical reverse bullet hell. That's all I'll say. Tactical
reverse bullet hell.
Yep.
Huh.
Very interesting. And the last thing to keep an eye out on, and we'll probably talk about it in the next episode, but the Critical Reflex, the publisher of games like Mouthwashing and Buckshot Roulette, are having their own showcase. It's described as a completely unhinged 30-minute showcase featuring new trailers and other surprises across their studio's diverse lineup. And it's coming. It's happening on September 15th at 1 p.m. EDT, 10 a.m. PDT. So it's on their YouTube channel. You can check it out. Critical Reflex. It's called Critical Reflex Time. That's the official name. So there you go. That is your inbox. And now it's time for a weird new segment. We're going to fucking fly through this. All right, Nick, load it up.
All right. So,
Don't load the dice though.
yeah, so we kind of had this idea. We wanted to do something a little bit fun because we were going to be talking a lot of games in the Gamescom episode. We wanted something a little bit different to break up the pace. So we are going to be deciding the 2025 Game of the Year selections and what gets in, what gets awards. You may be thinking, how are we doing this? Well, by fate. So, what I have in my hand here is a humble die.
Oh my god.
Sri and I have a list of games that are likely to make up the selection criteria, the categories of the Game Awards this year. A lot of the, your split fictions, your Expedition 33s, games of that kind of caliber. And essentially, we are going to go through this list and we are going to roll this die here on the table. And depending on what the die lands on, will assign a fate to this game. So, what we've decided on, if the die lands on a 1 or a 2, this game is getting snubbed from the Game Awards. Nothing. Not even a mention. If it gets a 3 or a 4, it maybe wins one award, gets nominated in a couple categories, whatnot. It takes home one thing. It gets its, little lip service and people can be happy and champion it. If it gets a 5 or a 6, it's going to sweep. And so if you're, listening to these rules and you're like, okay, well, what if Expedition 33 and Hollow Knight Silksong both sweep the awards?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to collect...
Or get snubbed.
Exactly. We are going to collect those at the end, and we'll just kind of talk about maybe what has the highest chance of actually sweeping the awards of those selections. But I think it'll be pretty fun, because it'll be hilarious if something like Expedition 33 gets snubbed, and we can have a little chat about that. So,
and place your bets down in the comments, and we'll see who comes out on top.
I also think this will be a fun thing if we remember it when the actual Game Awards happen, to be like, how close was this to an actual dice roll deciding everything.
Yep.
All right. So, do we want to go in order, Sri, or do we want to bounce around?
I think we can bounce around, because I think we should start with like Split Fiction.
Sure.
Because that came out at the start of the year, so it makes a little bit more sense,
All right. Split Fiction. 2 playable characters, 6 spots on the die. Let's see how this lands.
What are you taking home?
Ooh. Split Fiction gets a 3.
3. Okay. So, that's fair.
It's going to get some nominations and maybe a win. I could see it getting like a game direction win. Right, like
I was just saying, yeah. It's gonna get nominated for Game of the Year, but I think win for game direction is fair.
And like it's because there are so many different gameplay systems going on in that game, and it all kind of like fuels into the overall scope. But I think something like maybe a Clair Obscur or something that's a bit more consistent throughout would like sway people a bit more than like a Split Fiction.
Best performance, another one that I think would be fair for Split Fiction.
Sure. Yeah, I could definitely see that. Music, I don't think so. It's not very memorable from what I remember for any of those. I also don't think like the narrative ultimately landed for me. So like I think if you're gonna give it to like a performance, it'd probably be that. Although Clair Obscur, I think, is going to get a lot of performance looks for that game.
So, I'll say that for... I think those are the big ones.
So, yeah, that got a...
Game of the Year, the game direction, and performance are the 2 things, or 3 things that it...
Mm-hmm. Where do you want to go next? Do you want to drive this, or should we alternate on different ones?
We don't have to alternate, but the next one that caught my eye, again, I'm just kind of going through like relative order of the year, and I think Blueprints also came out pretty early on.
Sure. Indie Darling, puzzle roguelike. A lot of people talking about this one. Not really my cup of tea, so I haven't gotten around to it yet, but I could definitely see this one popping up. Let's see what Blueprints is getting.
A 1.
Ooh. Blueprints is sweeping with a 5.
Shit. Oh, fuck.
A 5. Okay, so Blueprints, yeah.
Is it their first game?
I think it is. Isn't it?
It's a debut.
Yeah. Yeah, this is one of those funny ones where it's like I doubt this would actually sweep. I think it's a little bit too underground for a lot of the voting populace that makes up the Game Awards voting committee.
I'll say best debut indie game, best indie game. Maybe best art direction, maybe, because it does have striking visuals, and like it's like seeing the house come together. I don't know what else it would get.
Yeah, maybe a game direction also I could see for that one.
Yeah, sure.
Because a lot of people talked about like the functionality of that game and how the puzzles
and
are
how
solved
it comes together
intertwined.
too.
So yeah, I can definitely see that.
Okay. All right. What's the next one?
Let's go.
Doom?
Yeah, let's do Doom. I threw Doom on here. I feel like I personally keep forgetting that Doom came out this year, and that's very weird for me to say because I am a Doom fan. So let's see.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I played the 2 hours of Doom 2, and I was like, oh, I'm excited, and then completely got swept away by other games, and I just have I forgot. Like it was like 2 months passed, and I was like, wait, I started Doom 2. What happened?
Unfortunately,
right.
Doom's getting the snub. Doom is not appearing.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's fair. That's fair. Okay.
I kind of see it honestly. Like I feel like it's we're kind of going through these categories, and I don't think it fits in anything.
No, I will say it'll probably I'll get nominated for best action game.
Sure, I could definitely see that. Okay.
Because Warhammer Space Marine 2 got nominated last year. I think Doom Dark Ages swings similarly. So, but yeah, okay, that's fair. That's sad.
Doom's
getting snubbed. All right.
Yeah, I definitely got to play that at some point too. That's another Game Pass one maybe, where it's like once I get it up. Game Pass is getting to the point where there's like 20 games that I want to play on there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to be short on time. Let's stick in the Bethesda circle. I think Indiana Jones and the Great Circle.
You mean the Great Circle?
Yeah. I didn't even think of that until you just said that. Indiana Jones, famously in under the cutoff time for last year's show. So it's in that prime spot of everybody's going to forget about it by the time December rolls around. Let's see. Dr. Jones.
6.
Todd Howard, 6. Let's go.
He's taking it home. By the way, I can't see the dice roll that Nick does. I just predicted 6. Yeah, no, this game. All right, so I'm going to go down the list. Game of the year. Nick's played it between narrative, art direction, and game direction. Which one would you think would be the highest?
Between the 3, I would probably say narrative, maybe game direction. I think it has a lot, kind of like what we were talking about with Split Fiction. It kind of has a lot going on under the hood, but it all feeds into that focus point of your Indiana Jones, and everything that you do has that Indiana Jones flavor, whether it's taking pictures, whether it's combat, whether it's exploration, whether it's puzzle solving. All of that feeds into that ethos of you are this character. So I could see maybe game direction. I think the narrative, it's interesting. I think I'm going back on that. I don't think it's going to be a narrative. Art direction, it's a cool looking game. I also don't think it's quite as strong. So I'd probably give it like a game direction nod. But it's going to win everything.
Performance for Troy Baker. Yeah, it's going to win everything. But best performance for Troy Baker is Indiana Jones.
That is a good shout. I think that's probably a lock for a nomination for
sure. How about between score and music or audio design?
Audio design. The The score doesn't use the theme enough to really like make that elevated Indiana Jones thing. But when you clock a Nazi with your fist and it sounds like a cannon going off, beautiful.
And then also I'll throw in a best action adventure game as well. That's
For sure.
fair.
That's
Silent
100%.
Hill 2 got nominated for that last year, so I feel like Indiana Jones is fair play.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, that's you know what? And it's gonna win every single one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a family game? No, I guess Nintendo has got that locked in. It can't be best family game.
Yeah, they should just rename that to best Nintendo game every
year. Yeah. By the way, for those of you who are wondering, last year's nominations was The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, and then The Plucky Squire. Oh, and Astrobot, which ended up winning, but Astrobot's like a Nintendo game on PlayStation. And before we move on from Indiana Jones, let me just say, shout out No Clip. They have a documentary series on Machine Games, and I've only watched the first episode, but man, No Clip is doing amazing stuff. So
I haven't watched it yet, but those are my favorite ones that they do, where it's just talking about a history of a developer. So I can't wait to get
really
into
good.
it.
I also didn't know that they made the Riddick game, and it's definitely on my list now. I want to play that Riddick game again, or not again, but I want to play it now that it's on my radar.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Nick, where are you going?
I want to go. Let's try Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. This is a bit of a dark horse one for me because I thought it was.
It's got to be a 5. It's got to be a 5.
I thought it was going to be like kind of come and go, but I keep seeing people talk about it, like even this far into the year. Dude. So and also they have the update coming out too that like totally adds a whole bunch of stuff to it, and King. It's definitely a game that I have on my radar right now. Ooh.
Don't do it.
5. Stay alive. Ooh. So it is taking some rewards home.
What did I say? All right. I'm gonna say best narrative. I haven't played this one. Neither of us have played it, but I know enough about. I have the finger on the pulse. All right. I know what's going on. I'll say best narrative, best performance.
Yeah, for the main character or whatever.
Yeah.
What's his name? Like Charlie or something like that?
I fucking don't know. Is it an indie game? Is it? Who made it? Kingdom.
Warhorse Studios, I think is their name. I think they are technically
It's made on
indie.
CryEngine, dude. It's Deep Silver.
Oh,
it's Warhorse Studios and Deep Silver. So Deep Silver published it, but
gotcha.
Damn. Okay.
I think maybe action adventure also. I could see that being in there. That's kind of like
best RPG. Is that one?
I was trying to think. Yeah, I think there is an RPG category. I feel like RPG.
Yeah, it is best role playing game.
Comes like in and out of the Game Awards.
Oh, dude, 100%. I mean, I have the list from last year, and I'm like kind of plugging in things. Best role playing game last year. Dragon's Dogma 2 was nominated. I feel like this is a swap in. You could swap it in.
Sure.
And it hits the same mark.
Yeah.
Best community support. I'll throw it in there, man. It's 5. I mean, it's not a 6, but it's still a 5 is. That's important. All right.
Yeah.
Not much. What else would get?
Yeah, not much to say about Kingdom Come, but incredible that people are still high on that game.
The first game is $6 on Steam.
All right, let's take this somewhere else. I want to go with Peak.
Oh, okay.
Another game that I've not played.
What, 10 million or 20 million?
I think it was 10 million. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, congratulations!
Super popular. Like you said, congrats. Obviously, you informed me on the podcast that it was from the team that did Another Crab's Treasure, and I was like, what the heck? So glad that they have a big win under their belt. Let's see if they can continue it with some awards. Okay.
It's a snub. It's a snub.
It's
3.
a 4.
Oh, okay.
So,
4.
Indie game. I think that fits maybe.
Yeah. I don't think they're taking home a lot of stuff, but they'll definitely be nominated. Is how I read that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, indie game makes sense.
I don't know.
Best ongoing, is that a one? Best community support. Sure. Best ongoing game.
is the game direction? I mean, it's just kind of like from what I know of it, it's like an exploration game that you play with like friends, right? So is there like anything
it's
like
not a
crazy
story
in that game? Like,
I don't think so. I think it's the diegetic kind of organic player moments. I mean, best multiplayer.
I could see that for sure. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
they like to flirt with like co-op games in that, not necessarily just like competitive multiplayer. So I could totally see that getting a nom there.
Yeah, and I don't know if it has accessibility, but that feels like Peak would be a game that would have innovation and accessibility. So,
Yeah,
there you go. I think that's for a 4. I think it's definitely not a family game, because if you're playing that with your family, I mean, it's falling apart fast.
Sorry, where do you want to take it next?
All right, I'll fucking say it. All right, I'll do it. Death Stranding 2. You can go there.
Death Stranding, Kojima, not a stranger to awards.
If this gets snubbed, I'm gonna start swinging at my monitor. All right. Oh my god.
3.
Oh, okay.
So
That's mediocre. Oh my god.
It's not snubbed, but it's gonna get something. Game direction. I mean, I feel
Game
like
direction.
that's a given
yeah,
for Kojima.
Best game direction, maybe art direction, but also, oh man, see, this is what I'm saying. That's fucked up. Score and music. This game has a incredible score. Best performance? No. Oh my god, he can't take it all.
From what you've seen of the game so far, does Norman Reedus put forth a performance that would be GOTY caliber, do you think?
Yes and no. Yes, because he's doing that exact character that he's built up. Like, he's building that character forward, but that character is like, yeah, okay,
that's
sure. That's
kind of the vibe I got from the first game, where it's like I feel like well, didn't Mads win for Death Stranding 1 for Cliff?
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it would be Troy Baker would get best performance, because he's eating that fucking performance.
I don't know if this has ever happened, but would they have 2 performances from the same actor in the same category?
Oh, from the same. Oh,
like if it was Troy as Indiana Jones and Troy as Death Stranding 2 as Higgs or whatever.
That's fucked up. Yeah, that's true. I've never thought about that, but
they probably wouldn't. They'd probably be like, we can't have
just
two
have the
slots.
entire just cut the middleman. Just say best Troy Baker, and then pick one of his games.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay.
I honestly though, I think that's probably not far off for the fate for Death Stranding. I think it's been like great. It's obviously gotten its flowers and everything, but I'm not sure it'll get a ton of awards, if that makes sense.
I think people maybe moved on fast, but I'm curious to see myself to the end, just to see what the impact is. Again, I haven't played a Kojima game before, and I'm just really curious about like how I will feel going through to that end.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
All right, Death Stranding. Oh, I wasn't following my thing. This was a 3, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Let's see here. Ooh,
Elden Ring Night Rain.
I was gonna say let's do the one that we both played. This is also a weird dark horse for me. I'm not sure if this will get any.
I think
nominations.
This will roll a 2.
Ooh. Now we have to decide something here real quick. I did not run into this at all. This did just hit something on my desktop. Do we re-roll until there's no interference? Or do we let it roll?
I think you let it roll. You let it roll.
Let it roll?
You let it roll.
Night Rain sweeping, baby. 6.
What the fuck? Oh my god.
That From Software sweep.
What even would... Okay. Game of the year. Okay, that's an easy one because it's From Soft. They've had, the last 3 years that would make it? They've had a nomination?
I think so, yeah.
Not narrative, not game direction, not art direction.
Yeah.
Score and music. Score is, obviously fucking crazy.
Action-adventure game, maybe. And
action-adventure game.
Best multiplayer, maybe. Again, in kind of a peak way. I could see that.
Yeah, I don't know what else it would...
Best performance for the person that played Iron Eye.
Yeah, yeah. Player voice. That's what it'll be.
Sure. We haven't even been factoring that in, but yeah, I could see it. That would definitely work.
I mean, there's one game that I honestly think player voice will go to. We have not yet touched on it, so I'll throw it in when we get there. But yeah, it's interesting because it's a 6. It's sweeping in our hypothetical situation, but I don't know how many it could actually realistically sweep in.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's do another weird one. Let's do the altars. This was another dark horse that I kind of threw in there.
Dark horse, yeah, sure.
I feel like it's that like peak Blueprints kind of level of game. So maybe a little bit hairy with the AI situation that happened, but
I think that was minor enough. I think we can look past that.
3 for the altars.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Surprisingly, not a lot of snubs. What did get snubbed? Dark Ages? Dark Ages is the only game that got snubbed so far?
Is the only
That's
thing.
fucked up. Wait till Donkey Kong Bonanza snubs, and then we'll cause a riot. All right, altars, narrative. Do you think it's narrative?
Narrative. I think that gets a nom.
You know what? I'll throw this out at you. What was the better story, the altars or Clair Obscur?
The better story is Clair Obscur.
Okay. Because I was gonna clarify, like what when you rolled credits, what was the one that was like, okay, yeah, that one. I'll think about that for a bit.
Characters and like narrative beats and emotions goes to Clair Obscur. The better combination of gameplay and story, I think, goes to the altars. I think a lot of what you do in that game impacts the story in very interesting ways, whereas Clair Obscur, it's almost like the gameplay is separate from the story in a lot of ways. Like, you are sitting and watching a cutscene, and then you are sitting and playing the game. So,
sure. Okay.
Yeah, I think Clair Obscur takes it over, but...
So, game direction, then?
I could see it. There's sort of like what we've talked about with...
I know one is locked. All right, best performance.
Yes. Whoever the actor is that plays Jan Dolsky, 100%. I think that's a lock. Man, best performance is going to be pretty tight this year. There's a lot of options now that we're talking about this. And we haven't even gotten to Clair Obscur yet, which best I feel like each of the characters in that game could get one. Yeah, best indie I could see. That's probably it. Like, I don't think it fits in action adventure.
Oh, no. Actually, I'll say this. Best sim strategy game. And I say that because last year, 11-Bit Studios was nominated for Frostpunk 2.
I think Frostpunk's maybe a bit more like strategy, but I think you could definitely make an argument for the altars that there's a healthy degree of strategy that needs to go into that game. So... yeah, I could see that for sure. What else
do you think? I mean, it was a 3, so it wasn't like crazy, but
yeah, I think that probably rounds out anywhere it would realistically get any sort of attention in there. Man, now that you said best performance, though, I kind of wanted to go to that. There's some performances in Clair Obscur that I really, really like, but I think that is such a like award-worthy performance, right? Where it's like, yeah, I actually played like 8 different characters. So
yeah.
All right. Where do you want to take it next, Tree?
I'm just trying to save the big hitters for last. So let's do Shinobi Art of Vengeance.
Another one of these kind of indie ones that I think could definitely sneak in a couple of awards.
It seems very much like an indie darling. Got a lot of love.
All right. 3. Got another 3.
Dang, what the fuck is this? What was loaded dice over here? 3. Best action game.
Yes. Best art direction. I think you could make a claim for that for sure.
It's from Blasphemous, right? The team that made Blasphemous, or no? Is that
no? This one is the Streets of Rage 4 developers.
Oh, I see.
It is
that one was Ninja Gaiden.
Yeah, Ninja Gaiden's the Blasphemous one. But yeah, I think art direction and action game, those are definitely two. Maybe music. I'm struggling to really recall a crazy amount from the demo that I played, but possibly music I could see on there.
Yeah, best action. Yeah, I don't really see much else that I would see that it would be nominated for. So, yeah. All right, 3. I mean, we quick hitters. I don't think there's anything sweeping that'll take home.
Yeah. Let's do one of these. We haven't done this yet. There's a couple games on this list that are not out yet, that have yet, obviously they're coming out in the next couple months here, but they are sort of, historically speaking, the types of games that will also probably receive some pretty high critical praise.
They come from developers with a pedigree. So
exactly.
We can assume, at least.
We'll stick in the indie sphere. Let's do Sword of the Sea. I feel like this one...
I mean, Sword of the Sea is... The reviews are out, at least, I think, right? I don't know if the game is out. But...
I think impressions are out. It comes out in like a week or two. Like, it's around the corner.
No, it's out. August 19th. It's been out for like 3 weeks.
Crazy. I thought it came out like in September, but yeah, let's see. Sword of the Sea.
So this is from Giant Squid, the developers of Abzu and Journey and stuff like that. So
yeah. Dun 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 dun. We got another snub too.
Oh dang!
Sword of the
you know
Sea.
what? I could see that game getting snubbed and people being upset about it. So
me too. I gotta tell you here. Surprisingly, I think that this is tracking very like possible for a lot of these. It's like a lot of these that I think are gonna get snubbed have a high chance of getting snubbed, and I think a lot that are hitting in our 5 and 6 have a high chance of getting a lot.
Yeah. I mean, like, if you were to throw in one for a game like this, I'd say art direction would be the obvious kind of nod. But
I think music too. I've heard Austin Wintory's score is like really good for this one.
Yeah. Score, I think it'll be art direction or score. I think it'll be nominated for, but again, the snub could happen. It's ever present if it's a loaded year, you know.
Mm-hmm.
In either category. All right.
I am looking forward to that game though. I have no idea when I'll play it, but art direction wise, it looks like, I mean, I've really enjoyed Journey. I really enjoyed Absu. It's both of those, and then also skateboarding mechanics. So it's like, I'm hyped.
Ollie just started meowing at me, and I was like, I don't know where the fuck he's coming from. It's just a dark room out there.
Ollie wants to join in. He heard us talking about
Sword of the Sea snub? What the fuck?
Let's keep the train rolling. Ghost of Yotei. Not out yet, but Ghost of Tsushima was nominated back in 2020?
He's going to get a 5.
Ghost of Yotei. You've been snubbed.
What the fuck? Oh, Riot. Not a chance.
Honestly, guess what? I think it is realistic again because it's
a sequel.
It's a sequel, and it fits in the Sony game that gets a bunch of nominations and doesn't win anything category.
Sure, right? Because I like art direction. Like even just from the trailers, art direction, probably like narrative, best performance for the lead character. Best action game. I mean, you could throw in like you know, just given what Sucker Punch has done in the past, that's what they would be able to do. But
I mean, like you can track it back. There are years where it's like I guess like The Last of Us is the only like exception to that. But it's like they get like Horizon. Horizon gets a bunch of nominations, doesn't win anything. Astrobot was also kind of like an outlier for Sony. But like every once in a while, they get these games in where Spider-Man, I guess, is a good example. Like, it gets a bunch of nominations, but doesn't take anything home. So,
right,
I can see a similar fate for Yotei for sure.
Now we're getting some snubs for games that are on the horizon or just came out.
Mm-hmm. Where do you want to go next, Ree?
I mean, we'll finish out the only one that's not out yet, right?
Not out yet.
So,
Mina the Hollower. Yacht Club Games of Shovel Knight fame. Definitely another option for the indie categories. Let's see here. Oh, that is a kitty.
Yeah, dude. Ollie, what do you have to say for Mina the Hulk? Oh my God, he's rioting. He's rioting for this.
Mina the Hollower, you're sweeping.
Sweeping. Oh,
You're
that makes sense.
sweeping
Though.
with a
That's
6.
Okay. All right. I mean, what's it sweeping in? I mean,
Indie,
all of best indie,
I could
best
see art direction, music. I could see a lot of people like those nostalgic kind of hits when they hit really hard. So I could see a lot of that. Best performance.
Best performance, huh?
Yep.
Sweeping it. I don't know what it would get nominated for because I don't know what like the Shovel Knight was previously like nominated for.
I think it's like indie, maybe action adventure. I could see that also.
Score music,
possibly. Yeah. I mean,
say that already?
The Shovel Knight soundtrack is like incredible. So like I have high expectations for Mina. So yeah, I could definitely see it.
Okay.
Let's get the Nintendo games out of the way. Nintendo. Everybody loves Nintendo. Let's start with the worst one, Mario Kart.
Whoa, what the fuck?
I haven't played Donkey Kong yet, so I can't even make that claim, but...
It's going to get a 4, and it's going to get Best Family Game and Best Racing Game, and... Go ahead. What is it?
You snubbed Mario Kart. A 2.
Yeah, honestly, fair. That's fair. I'll let it ride.
I do object because I just remembered that the soundtrack is bonkers. So I think it definitely gets a nom for that. But,
dude, so in the lead up to Germany, I played obviously a lot of Mario Kart World, and there's a point where like there's one bridge that goes from Cologne, and then our hotel was in Bonn, and on the way the bridge has the perfect fucking like side rails where every time I pass I'm like, damn, you could grind on that for sure. and every time and eventually I was like on the 4th day I was like, guys, I just have to confess to you, this looks perfectly grindable. And they're like, yeah, I see it. It's a perfect ramp up. You go onto 2 wheels. I mean, it's made for it. But anyway, yeah, Mario Kart 2.
I don't think it's going to get much else, honestly. Like, I think soundtrack it gets, if they have
and
sports racing, yeah, I guess it'll get a nom in that. I think
because it's
Nintendo beat it out, but
yeah, that's fair. But again, they had 3 games in that category last year, so Nintendo they can have both. But yeah, all right, let's go to Donkey Kong Bonanza. Let's see what Big Monkey is pulling out.
Banana.
Hopefully not his banana.
Uh-oh.
No.
DK.
A 1?
With the 1.
A fucking critical failure for so many people's game of the year. Oh, man. That's going to be upsetting.
Man.
That's going to be upsetting.
Nintendo, they really dropped the ball. That, just the platformers, they really caught up to them. People just don't want it anymore. They don't want Donkey Kong.
No, it's because they peaked with Astrobot last year, and they're like, yeah, that's it. You can't,
They couldn't
who cares
compete.
about a monkey? Yeah. Damn. Wow.
Yeah. Pour one out for DK. The only one on the list right now.
So far, we don't know what
True.
Claire Obscure or Silk Song will get. Are those the only 2 left?
I think so. Yeah, we're pretty much through the list here.
I mean, it was bound to happen that at least one of them is a 1, but Donkey Kong Bonanza being like a critical failure is crazy.
In actuality, it's probably going to get a good bit, I think.
Yeah, Game of the Year, Best Family Game.
Game direction, I could definitely see. There's one that I feel like we're freaking missing. What is it? Well, Family Game. I think so. Yeah, they were kind of hyping up the soundtrack beforehand, and there's a lot more like renditions of classic games. So yeah, I could see it for sure in there as well.
All else fails. Player voice.
Alrighty. As you mentioned, Sri, we are down to probably the two Mega Goliaths going into the critical
Mega Goliath indie games, no less.
Hollow Knight Silksong and Clair Obscur Expedition 33. Which one do you wanna do first?
We'll save Silksong for last. So we just came hot off the press of you talking about Clair Obscur, so let's see what Clair Obscur is cooking.
Clair Obscur, let's see.
6.
2.
2. Oh,
Clair
dang.
Obscur gets the snub. I don't think there's any reality where that happens.
That's what I was just gonna say. I think the list was accurate until you said it, and then it fell apart because there's no way that Clair Obscur is not gonna sweep this. Like the highest probability of sweep, if we're being honest, is Silksong and Clair Obscur. Just out of like the expectations and hype and kind of just general community outcry alone.
Clair Obscur has the Baldur's Gate 3 energy of 2023.
Yes.
It realistically, any category that we've pretty much talked about right now, it has an opportunity.
I was going to say, like, game of the year, best game direction, best narrative, best art direction, best score and music, best audio design, best performance.
Multiple performances. I think of any of the games we've talked about outside of like the altars, I think because sometimes games in the Game Awards, they do get the same game but two different performances. Like I think Last of Us 2 had two different performances. I think there's going to be 2 from Clair Obscur at least. So
I don't know if it'll make games for Impact, but then skip over that. Best indie game, best debut indie game. That's right. I think this is their debut game. Yeah. Best action or best role playing game.
It has to be a lock for that one.
And just to throw it in there, player's voice.
Yeah.
I mean, last year the winner for player's voice, by the way, for context, is Black Myth Wukong. And nominated was Zenless Zone Zero, Withering Waves, Shadow of the Erd Tree, and Genshin Impact. So.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Shadow of the Erd Tree. Everybody was like, DLC's not going to win.
Yep.
All right, now this will be the funniest thing in the world. If Hollow Knight Silksong gets a snub, you know what the podcast is getting titled. It is getting Silksong, Expedition 33, and Donkey Kong snubbed Game Awards.
Yeah, it'll be Nick just like open face, like, like one of those, and then that's it. Red text snubbed.
Hollow Knight Silksong, let's see.
5.
The Silksong sweep 5. You got it right on the money.
Hell yeah. All right, so Silksong all right, game of the year. Similar situation actually. Game of the year, game direction, art direction. I don't know about narrative. I don't know how the narratives of Hollow Knight will hold up.
It's score very music. Soulsy in its narrative, so it's a lot like not really like played out yourself for you, but like item descriptions and environmental storytelling build it a lot.
Not performance. Best indie game. Best action game or action adventure. Either one or one of those. I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think those are the big ones. That it would, and then player choice again because it's such a big game that it would make sense.
That's funny. I feel like player's choice of the ones that you listed from last year. I feel like Black Myth was maybe only the real contender in there, but I feel like this year there might be a couple that are splitting votes for sure.
Because I feel like the player voice is always the one that's like, oh, the community just is like an outpouring of love for it. So, we have like it's like the gamers essentially being like, we have to talk, like this game has to be in there. Mm-hmm. And there's Hollow Knight is one, Clair Obscur is one, Blue Prince is another. There's a few in there.
Kingdom Come.
It's so
I could maybe see that.
Yes, yeah. I would. The only thing here, Nick, if I was to make one, because this list is pretty good. If I was to change two, like if I was to swap two out, all right, the numbers for one, it would be Elden Ring Night Rain with Clair Obscur. I think then we get a pretty accurate
Yeah.
system. Like I think they're all pretty like. There's a high chance that they're all. Oh, Donkey Kong Bonanza with a 1 is also crazy, but the rest we can manage.
Yeah. Poor DK.
Oh man, I can't wait.
Getting the
I can't wait for December when we're watching and not a single award goes to Bonanza. I'm like, fuck it, we fucking called it. The dice.
Yeah. This is hilarious, actually. Like I figured there would be some weirdness in doing this, and like obviously, yeah, like Donkey Kong and Clair Obscur getting snubbed or whatever. But like, I think it's pretty close to what might actually happen. Like, I definitely think everything on this list has an opportunity to get like nominated for something. I definitely think some of these games are not going to walk away with awards, and some are definitely. I think there's. See, this is the one other thing that we didn't really factor in for, and it's the fact that we have, I would say, two heavy hitters with Silksong and Expedition that could be eating each other's lunch for awards and causing it not to sweep. The one thing that always sticks out to me is, this isn't exactly what I just pitched, but the year of God of War 2018 and Red Dead Redemption 2, obviously Red Dead 2 swept everything except for Game of the Year, which went to God of War. And it's like, I wonder if we're going to have a similar case to that, or if it's going to be like 3 to Silksong, 3 to Expedition 33. It'll be very interesting to see.
It'll be a interesting split, but you know what? We'll be here talking about it in just a few months.
We're going to have to reference this again whenever those awards come up.
Absolutely. This year, for those of you who don't know, on December 11th, 2025, the Game Awards are coming back, baby. And so we'll be reacting to it if we can, and at the very least, we'll talk about it on the podcast and give you all the recap, all the juicy deets. So hit the subscribe button, and you'll get notified whenever a new episode goes up. And we have... Obviously, we've been doing a lot of podcast videos and or podcast episodes, but there's other videos that we're working on as well. So that'll be coming out soon. And subscribing is the best way to stay on top of that.
For sure. Alrighty,
Nick. Anything else?
I think that's all I had. This was a lot of fun. I think that was a good idea to go with something a bit more fun for a topic following the Gamescom discussion. This is 3.5 hours that we've just recorded, so I think we're pretty spent. That's a pretty healthy recording session, but I think that was 2 really good episodes actually back to back. So
yeah,
we haven't lost our stride even after taking a month off.
Season 2 is stronger than ever, baby.
Alrighty. Like Sri said, subscribe down on the bottom so that way you can stay up to date with all this stuff. Give us a like if you liked what you heard and you want to hear more. That's the best way to convey that emotion to us, the hosts. So go ahead and do that. And oh god. Okay, let's see. Have a good night, a good morning. No, I did get a good morning and a damn good time.